You can actually truly say welcome to Ardclough here, which is unusual because the townland of Ardclough is exactly where
here.
Ardclough is now bears no resemblance to this, but when right up till 1985 people went to church, went to mass here, in that it's a private residence now, but that was the church for Ardclough. This little section here is in Lyons parish, and the land in Lyons was owned by the Aylmer family at the time, and they obviously got this little section. Church you see behind you was built in 1810. Prior to that, there was a mass house here. At the time, as most of you will know, there were serious regulations as to where mass could be said. The mythology of the mass rock, all of that we've learned in our childhood, but there were specific legal requirements that a church had to be 1 mile outside a town. And all the 18th century churches, as opposed to what happened in the beginning of the 19th century, all the churches around here all came up in about a 10-year period. This was built in 1810, Newcastle was built in 1813, Kill was built in 1821. But the church of Ardclough was actually the parish church of Lyons, and that was the notice that was put on it. That was the little inscription that was put on it. Lyons parish is actually, the heart of Lyons parish is over where Lyons house is now, and on the way up to the hill there is a Lyons parish church, which was prior to Henry VIII's time the parish church of Lyons. Our Protestant church in Lyons eventually got transferred to Newcastle, but this little outpost of Lyons parish was where the Catholic Church was put. Originally the Mass House, and in 1810 the parish church of Lyons. The parish of Lyons was not just Lyons at that stage, it was the parish of Lyons and Kill. And the church was built at the behest of the new resident of Lyons who'd taken over from the Aylmers. Nicholas Lawless was the guy who got hold of the Lyons house from the Aylmers because they owed a lot of money to him. And his son, Valentine Lawless, became a pretty important political figure from the 1790s on. He was one of the leaders of the 1798 rebellion. He ended up getting a peerage from the Queen of England. So that was quite a great turnaround and shows what an adept politician he was. In 1810, he built the parish church of Lyons, nice and safe, very far away from his home. Nobody could accuse him of being nice to the Catholics. So here it was, more than 1.5 miles away, and it's the parish of Lyons Church. All around us is another parish, but this one was a little outpost of the parish of Lyons, and he put the church here. He built it, he got a baptismal font as a present from Pope Pius VII, and that he got a crucifix as a present as well from the Vatican. And the new priest arrived in 1810 called Daniel Nolan, and Daniel Nolan fell out incredibly badly with Lord Cloncurry, moved his house to Paynestown originally and then to Kill. 11 years after the parish church of Lyons was built in Ardclough, a second parish church is built in 1821 in Kill, and to this day Lyons has been the curacy, and Kill has been where the parish priest lived. The centre of the parish moved in that one stroke in 1821, and the story of Daniel Nolan and his fights with the Lord Cloncurry, Valentine Lawless, the second Lord Cloncurry, featured very heavily in the biographies the Bishop of Kildare and Loughlin, JKL, James Warren Doyle, written by William Fitzpatrick. Some marvellous stories in it. None of them I expect to be true, like many biographers. I'm a journalist myself. And one of the stories was that he built windows on one side of the church so that when the light came in, it wouldn't get back out again. Daniel Nolan was the subject of loads of letters from Lord Cloncurry to the bishop at the time, James Warren Doyle, and those letters are still extant. They're in Carlow in the diocesan archive there.